Oh my goodness. Okay. I have been working so hard today. Actually, I've been working really hard all week. Editing, working on my website, talking with clients, writing in my new book. I am needing a break. And I remembered that I had gotten a copy of this book. This book's called Stable. Someone is taking them. Cam Torrens is the author, and Cam had been a guest on my show, A Book, several weeks ago. And I'm thinking it's time for me to take a break and maybe read out of the book. So, I'll tell you what. Why don't you join me? Oh, okay. I finally get to sit, put my feet up, and relax. I've been looking forward to this book, and it's always nice to be able to sit down and read a book from an author you know. So this is Stable by Cam Torrens, and I'm really excited to get to dive in. Well, why don't you join me? We're just going to start with chapter 1, and we'll go from there. I know I have to get back to work sometime today, but I'm going to get as much of this done as I can. I'm not ready yet. He's out there taunting me. Give me another 10 minutes. Tyler Zahn's gaze moved from his daughter's CU Boulder t-shirt and brown-skinned arms to the clear bobber on the head of her fishing line, jerking underwater again. We need to leave in 5 if we are going to make it on time, I told Christy. We'd better be there by noon. Daria jerked her pole, but didn't hook the trout teasing the bait under the lark's mirrored surface. Zahn already had 3 fish on a stringer and was hoping his 20-year-old daughter would catch her first of the day. His technique, crude by local fly fishing standards, rarely failed. He'd rig up a regular fishing pole with a float bobber and fly, an amateur's fly fishing rig that eliminated the entire process of whipping the line back and forth to fling it out in the water. Then, the coup de grace, he'd stuff a piece of worm on the fly. Every time he pulled out the worms, he glanced around the shores of Aspen Lake, checking for purists. Not the way locals caught fish around here, but it worked for Zahn. Why wasn't it working for his daughter? Zahn opened his appointment book for the number to the front desk of River Ragers, where his friend Christy guided rafts. He frowned. No way would they make it on time. It was at least a 20-minute drive down Cottonwood Pass and across the Arkansas River Valley to the raft company. Zahn looked up and saw his daughter staring at him and shaking her head. Are you marking off fishing with an X or planning out tomorrow? Neither. I need to call the rafting company and let them know we're running behind. The only reason we're running behind is because you're overscheduling everything, Dad. Daria held her pole with one hand and gestured with the other. Look around. We're literally at 10,000 feet on a mountain lake tucked into the Colorado Rockies. This isn't something you just log off on a to-do list. Do I look like I'm not having fun? Zahn gave a half smile. You haven't caught a fish yet. Because you're tracking the wrong things. It should be go fishing instead of catch a fish. I bet your afternoon goal says raft the numbers instead of enjoy the river. Am I right? Zahn didn't dare look at his appointment book. She was right. I want you to experience everything out here, Dar. You've only got a couple of weeks, right? Daria sighed. I finished my psych finals. I'm with my dad, who I haven't spent time with in 6 years. She said, smiling at Zahn. Do you think you could relax a little and let me enjoy it on my own terms? You spend every day trying to schedule my vacation. You spending every day trying to schedule my vacation is making me nervous. She paused. I thought you were going to work again. You know, After that thing you did last year. Zahn stayed silent, staring at Daria's bobber. No movement. He thought about the thing from last year. He and his deputy sheriff friend had stopped those guys from blowing up the dam in Dillon Reservoir. Kind of funny, actually. Everyone had been congratulatory and had lauded Zahn for saving lives. But the truth of the matter was that the experience had literally, stealing one of Daria's oft-used words, saved his life. Stepping up and taking action had reversed a 10-year spiral of depression that started when he lost his son, Jacob, Daria's brother, to the flu, while Zahn was deployed in Iraq. Then he lost an air crew under his command to a missile. His marriage to Sheila had fallen apart, not because of the challenges of a mixed-race relationship, but because he couldn't handle the grief and shame accompanying the tragedies. He had wallowed away at the desk job in the Pentagon, followed by a contractor job on the outside, gaining weight and perfecting the ancient medicinal art of numbing pain with beer. Yep, the thing his daughter referred to was an understatement. But I've got a slot for training, Zahn said. But the Law Enforcement Academy is backed up after the pandemic shut things down. They canceled 2 cycles of training before they finally determined it was safe enough to start up again. So I'm going in July. Well, maybe you ought to study or something. Give me a break. Zahn saw Daria's bobber plunge below the surface again. This time, it didn't resurface. He shifted his gaze back to his daughter and saw her pole bent forward in the water. Got him! Daria smiled at him over her shoulder. Zahn may have caught the most fish, but Daria won the prize for the biggest. 14 inches long, enough for a night's meal for him since Daria didn't eat meat. Nope, she said, crouching next to the fish on the shallow water and working her hand up the line to the trout's gills. She'd hooked the fish through the mouth and didn't need an extractor to remove the worm-wrapped fly. This guy gets to live for another day. You already caught enough fish for dinner. Daria twisted her wrist underwater and pointed the nose of the fish toward the mountains overlooking the far side of the lake. Swim free, buddy. The fish sped away. Zahn smiled. His daughter loved animals unconditionally. He suspected she held animals to a higher standard. Zahn took the gravel road to the main highway at about 40, pushing up a cloud of dust behind his truck. Rounding a sharp corner, his back tires swung wide as he corrected to avoid a maroon pickup truck. He snapped his head toward the oncoming driver, but couldn't see a face through the dust. Zahn swallowed and regained his side of the road, shaking his head. Dad, stop! Zahn pulled over and looked at his daughter. Did you forget something? Look at me. Zahn kept his eyes on Daria and thought how much she looked like her mother. Deep brown eyes and flashed warning signals when she was upset, like now. The dust caught up with the parked truck, and he coughed as he felt his nose tickle. I had a blast. I caught a fish. I loved the lake. Rafting's next. Let's go. She tilted her head. But you need to slow down. Relax. She checked the rearview mirror. You just blanketed that truck in dust. We're late. Live with it. Besides, if you don't slow down and lighten up a bit, I will kindly ask you to take me home. How's that sound? Zahn sighed. Sounded like his ex-wife. A force of nature combined with a voice of common sense and rarely wrong. He put the truck into gear and pulled onto the road. You're right, Dar, Zahn said, smiling. I got it. It's good so far. Well, now let's get into Chapter 2. The dog in Janae Longmont's arms stiffened like a board, and the girl woke at his low growl. She opened her eyes to Dobie, a Chihuahua-Corgi mix, a Chiggy, staring at the door. A floorboard creaked. Janae rolled over toward the door. She stuck her fingernail between her teeth and nibbled. The shadow beneath the door shifted from right to left, gliding by just like last night and the night before, a little less scary in the dim light of dawn, especially since Janae knew who it was. Dobie settled back in her arms when the shadow disappeared, and Janae heard muffled footsteps descending the stairs. She exhaled and reached for the book next to the bed. Crack! The noise came from the window side of the room, from outside. Dobie froze again, now staring at the window. Stay! The 9-year-old girl climbed out of bed and padded to the far window, facing a hill marking the edge of the Arkansas River Valley and the star of the Collegiate Peaks. Visiting her aunt and uncle's house in the Colorado Rockies always reminded Jane of The Wizard of Oz. She glanced back at her dog. We're not in Oklahoma anymore, Dobie. The window framed tall ponderosa pines thrusting from jagged rocks, only a stone's throw from the house. There's no place like home, Jane said, then raised on her toes to click her heels together. A movement below the window caught her eye. She dropped her heels back to the floor and pressed her face to the window. A mother deer and her fawn nibbled at the dry, brown grass next to the house, the larger deer popping her head up, alert after each bite, while the fawns nibbled away, oblivious to the fact that their breakfast was in someone's backyard. Janae checked Dobie again and smiled. Already back asleep. Tiptoeing to her bed, she grabbed her tablet computer off the nightstand. Back at the window, she took pictures of the tawny mother standing guard over her hungry white spotted offspring. The angle was off. All Janae captured were the tops of 2 deer. She could grab a better shot from the dining room window downstairs, or even the ultimate shot if she ventured outside and took the picture. She normally avoided the dining room because sometimes Uncle Mike was the only one awake this early. Janae hated talking to him by herself. Ever since her cousin Megan, Uncle Mike's daughter from his first marriage, had left, her uncle was just awkward around kids. Outside would give Janae the better photo, but alone, the woods scared her, and her mom didn't want her going far. Scaredy cat, that's what they'd called her last year at the elementary school in Oklahoma because she wouldn't climb through the entire tunnel on the playground. She didn't enjoy the nickname, but it was true. Put her somewhere dark or alone, and she was the complete opposite of her best friends. Well, her imaginary best friends, that is. She knew Harry Potter's bold housemate, Hermione Granger, wasn't real, just as Percy Jackson's friend Annabeth Chase was only part of a story, but Janae spent more time with those 2 girls than with any real girls, and they wouldn't blink at going outside, especially to snap a shot of a doe and a fawn. Janae took a deep breath and tiptoed to the door while watching Dobie. No invisibility cloak needed here. Dobie seemed to have dropped back into a deep slumber. She crept out the door and down the carpeted steps. A kitchen light shone, but the house was quiet. Janae sat in the entryway and slid her bare feet into her pink cowboy boots. Last fall, her dad had asked her if pink cowboy boots were the right choice for the first day of school. I like them, she had said. It's not like the kids at school would not make fun of her anyway. Janae donned her pink windbreaker and opened the front door. No need for alarms at Uncle Mike's place. Who would drive 8 miles into the woods to break into a house? She closed the door behind her and walked toward the backyard, trying to avoid awakening the sleepers inside. Poking her head around the wooden siding, she could see the mother deer staring at her. The fawn munched grass between Janae and the doe, clueless about the impending photo shoot or any potential threat. Janae's eyes rose toward the cliff overlooking the house, and she shuddered. Perfect spot for a mountain lion, according to the movies she'd seen. Didn't the deer know that? Like, from instinct or something? Janae breathed in, then pointed the tablet at the 2 deer. She tapped the button, and the picture froze. Perfect. The doe's eyes seemed to look straight into Janae's. Isn't my little fawn beautiful? Oops. The tablet's camera made a noise, just like a real camera. The smaller deer's head whipped towards Jane. It glanced at its mother, then swung its head back to Janae and took a step toward her. The girl raised her tablet again. Hey there, little guy. Want to be my friend? Janae pressed the button on the tablet, startling both deer into full attention. She snapped another shot before the doe leaped toward the rocks, jutting from the steep slope with her fawn close by, where mountain lions like to hang out, probably. She should have stayed inside. The mother deer stopped, her little one tucked at her side, and looked back at Janae. Then Janae felt a hand crop on her shoulder. Oh my gosh. All right, so I only have enough time, it looks like, just enough time to read a little bit more of Chapter 3, and then I'm going to have to go. Chapter 3. Breakfast at Zane's house had evolved since Daria's arrival. She'd let him know she wasn't a picky eater, but she didn't eat meat. So this morning was his first effort at a veggie omelet, and judging from the way Daria dug into her plate, he'd produced a winner. Yesterday she had made avocado toast. Daria said it was a thing at school, but it still looked like green peanut butter smeared on toast to him. Not too bad, though, especially when he draped 2 ribbons of bacon across the top of his, serving while smiling at Daria. Zane's smile dropped as an active 911 alert lit up his phone. Search and Rescue, or SAR, called. Damn. Had to get a call today. His open day planner read, "Take Daria hiking." He grabbed the phone and tapped to open the alert. "Need hikers, missing woman on La Plata. Report to the bay." I'm going to go ahead and stop there because that's all the time that I have. Oh my goodness. In case I don't get to read the rest of this to you, if you are interested in the rest of this story, someone is taking them. You might want to check out Cam Torrens' book, Stable. I will leave a link in the description of this video so that you'll know where to get this book. So far, so good. Can't wait to read the rest, but it's time for me to get back to work. Y'all have a great day.